Hey folks, how's it going? This is Seagull here, back with a special My Sims 4 wishlist video. So this is something I've actually done for the past 2 years, where on New Year's Eve, I upload a special edition of My Sims 4 wishlist, where I start off by recapping the year past, and talk about the things that I want to see most for the upcoming year. 2017 overall, I think, was the best year for The Sims 4 so far, and wow, did it start off with a bang. We got our quarterly teaser that teased the already cool sounding vampires and bowling stuff, but little did we know, there was a huge surprise in store for us. After completely giving up hope on Toddlers ever coming to the game, I was shocked to see that they came as part of a big game update in January that also added the ability to customize teeth. Vampires also came out in January, which is now my favorite game pack. We went a long time without any new occults, and not only did they finally give us one, they easily made the best vampires The Sims has seen. The idea of a whole pack focused on one occult seemed strange to me at first, but I doubt the vampires would have been nearly as good if they were squished into Get Together or City Living. February saw the celebration of the 17th anniversary of The Sims, with a new update that gave us free shirts and a redesign of the main menu, which I think is better than what we had before, especially with the addition of a new game button that's clearly displayed. In March, we got the Teen Hangout Launch Rate for free, and then we got Bowling Night stuff, which got a mixed reception. While I see a lot of love for the furniture, having the bowling alley as the only gameplay object was not enough for a lot of people. With April, we got the only timed challenge in 2017, but that brought back the Plant Sim as the reward. There isn't much to them. Unfortunately, they're not as nearly as great as the vampires. But since they were technically added to the game through an update, maybe they could be improved in the future. But that's not all, as Maxis kicked off a collaborative effort with us to decide on a stuff pack to come out in 2018. Through multiple voting rounds as 2017 progressed, this would eventually become Laundry Day stuff, which will add laundry alongside rustic-themed objects and create a sim items. In May, Sims Mobile was announced, and on PC, we got an update that added some new lights alongside the option to recover old versions of saves. Shortly after, we got the Parenthood Game Pack. While it wasn't a remake of Generations, it expanded family play in a more original system called Character Values that can affect traits that Sims get once they transition over to adulthood. There's also a lot of fun clothes and objects, including the school projects that children and teenagers can work on and ask their parents for help. Then things started to slow down as summer began. June brought us fitness stuff, and then in July we got teased with a pretty empty looking quarter in terms of new content, with only toddler stuff shown. Later that month, The Sims 4 was finally announced to be coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Toddler stuff then released in August, and that pack gave us maybe the most controversial object in Sims history, the ball pit. Who would have thought that such a child-friendly object could be so poorly received? Well, the general consensus was that at the time the pack released, the ball texture was very flat looking for something releasing in 2017. It looked like something out of a game for the PlayStation 1. Much to my surprise, they actually went back and upgraded the texture to be pretty much what I would have expected in the September update. But before we get into that fall quarter, I can't just skip over the huge announcement that they made in August, which was the highly anticipated Pets expansion, which is cats and dogs. Took a different turn by focusing on the cats and dogs, while adding a vet clinic and an East Coast inspired world, much to Mimiko's delight. Yeah, getting seagulls, interactive seagulls, that was definitely a big highlight of this year. But now getting into September, it brought a pretty nice update for PC players, giving the mentioned ball pit upgrade a decent amount of new free objects and create a sim items, and updating the gallery's layout a bit. The teaser for the final quarter was basically just another teaser for cats and dogs, as that was the only paid content coming out, so at the time that looked pretty disappointing. However, we were surprised with even more free content every month. In October, they added content related to Diwali. November added new roofing tools alongside a bunch of fixes and improvements, and in December, we were given new objects that are themed around celebrating Christmas in the Southern Hemisphere. Of course, I can't forget to mention that Cats and Dogs released in November. While it did get some criticism for not having small pets and horses like The Sims 3 pets did, overall, from what I've seen, it's by far the best received pack for The Sims 4. So while there were some slow times, especially during the summer, I think hands down 2017 has been better than the previous years, and it's going to be difficult to top it. One other thing I really liked about this year was a continued focus on multiculturalism. I'm glad they didn't stop that after City Living. Also, curly hair. I feel like Toddlers stuff and Cats and Dogs have paved the way for more to come, and I really welcome that. I've already seen them inspire some great custom content hair, so I'm excited to see what the artists at Maxis will do. Now it's time to look to the future as 2018 is about to begin and what I'd like to see. I'm really hoping they'll keep the positive momentum going from 2017 and continue to bring out solid content that we've been asking for. Laundry Day stuff could end up being the first pack we'll see, and well, that is literally what the majority of us asked for. In last year's video, I was really hammering home that Maxis desperately needed to step things up, and while it would have been nice if they had tried to assemble a second expansion pack team instead of focusing more on mobile games, I think they still did manage to do a great job with Toddlers, Cats and Dogs, Parenthood, Vampires, and the Community Stuff Pack Vote being major highlights. I have much more faith in The Sims 4 now than I did at this time last year. So let's talk about the top 6 things I want to see in 2018 because, well, this time, just 3 is not enough. The first thing is probably very predictable and I guess doesn't really need to be said, but seasons. We got Cats and Dogs and Toddlers, which is great, so now we just need the other major fan request. I've already talked at length before about why I think Seasons needs to be in The Sims 4, so to keep things a bit shorter this time, in real life we all experience weather. Not all of us experience it in the same way, but most of us can relate to feeling varying degrees of hot and cold, wind, as well as occasional rain or fog. Snow can be part of that too, depending on where you live. The Sims is a life simulator, so it doesn't seem right to just have sunny weather all year round. Plus, weather does a good job of changing up the core gameplay no matter what kind of household you're playing as. I'm only expecting one expansion again in 2018, so it better be Seasons. I've seen a surprisingly decent amount of people say, well, what if they just did a game pack instead? Well, I think that'd be a big disservice to limit such a huge feature to a smaller pack, especially if we want it to be as great as it was in The Sims 3, and Cats and Dogs still got a whole expansion pack, so why limit Seasons? And while I wouldn't mind a Seasons expansion for The Sims 4 going in a similar direction to The Sims 3 Seasons, I think it'd also be a great opportunity to include canned gameplay features from the Community Stuff Pack Vote, like the off-the-grid idea and recycling, to bring more focus on the environment and put more of a fresh spin on the idea of a Seasons pack. And in line with that, I hope the elements will be harsher. There should be power outages caused by heavy thunderstorms or snow. Strong winds could destroy objects left outside. Minor floods could do the same. I still plan on doing a more detailed wishlist video about Seasons, but that's the general idea of what I'd like to see. The next thing I wish for most in 2018 is cars as the big free update. I'm sorry, this is another predictable one, especially if you've seen my previous videos from the previous years, but this is something I've argued for over and over again, and that hasn't changed. We don't need an open world for cars to be useful, and The Sims 2 proved that. I'd argue Sims 2's cars were better than the Sims 3's because there was more interaction, including actually sitting in the car and talking and woohoo. Pretty much everyone wants more woohoo locations, so yeah, the Roaring Heights car in The Sims 3 had that, but that should have been standard with every car and not something part of an expensive DLC near the end of the game's life cycle, which only some people would get. The third thing I want to see in some form is farming. I think this could be a game pack, but if it turned out to be the expansion pack for 2018, that'd probably be the only way I wouldn't be mad about it not being seasons instead. Of course, it's always possible seasons and farming could be combined, but I want to see horses come back, and what better way to reintroduce them than to have them help out our Sims in a new farming town. The chickens and cows in The Sims 3 were fun, but I think they can do even better. How fun would it be to also have sheep, goats, and llamas? I've left pigs out specifically because while the animals wouldn't have as many interactions as cats and dogs, I still want each animal to be more than something cute that you feed and pet every once in a while. I'm not sure what pigs would be used for outside of being killed for meat, which could take away from the generally happy atmosphere of The Sims. The fourth thing that I want most, which I haven't really talked much about before, is a new vacation world. Granite Falls has been the sole destination world for too long now, and I think 2018 will be the time for that to change with the next game pack. I'd really like to see a tropical world where you can choose to stay in a hotel or rent a home, and our Sims could use the ocean for various water activities like swimming and surfing. Ideally, I'd love to be able to run the hotels in a similar way to running retail stores, restaurants, and vet clinics, but I wonder if that would all fit into a game pack though. It's kind of funny actually. You could potentially turn a tropical destination into a whole expansion pack if you really wanted to. But since we're only getting one expansion pack a year now, I'm a bit hesitant to say I'd want that for sure. Whether it happens in 2018 or it happens later, I'd like to see a vacation world that's less predictable. Maybe something more safari-based in Africa, or a mountainous region like the Swiss Alps or New Zealand that has a real vertical feel in an even bigger way than the uptown district of San Myshuno. They've been really trying to focus on putting new twists on old ideas, so I won't be surprised if they did spring a completely different vacation world than what we're expecting. My fifth most wanted idea is small pets. I like how cats and dogs were done, but that should not replace birds, worm rats, snakes, and lizards. Plus, it'd be nice to have bunnies. It's kinda strange that we haven't had them, yet they're really popular to have as pets. If small pets get a game pack, maybe they could be added onto Cats and Dogs Create a Pet system so you could customize them more than you could in previous games, and overall not have them feel as much like glorified objects. Lastly, I'd like to see a new occult. Vampires really set a new standard for them, and I think they could reuse what they did for that pack with superheroes and witches. Hopefully one of those will come around Halloween, if we don't already get a farming game pack around that time. I'm a bit surprised Maxis hasn't already tried to cash in on the rising popularity of superheroes, apart from a small section within the Sims 3 movie stuff. So maybe we'll actually get superheroes in The Sims 4 before witches. But I do think if superheroes don't come next, it'll probably be witches, because they're a really popular occult within the Sims franchise. And that pretty much wraps up what I want to see in 2018. Of course, this isn't everything that I want to see. There's still other stuff like University, but it's not something that I need right now in my game. I can still wait a bit longer for that. If we do get cars and seasons in 2018, then University will probably be at the top of my wish list for 2019, but we'll see what happens. So let me know in the comment section below what you want to see the most in 2018, and I hope you're all having a great new year. So I'll talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!